Welcome everyone to the Center for Art and Talk. My name is George Spike, and I am a clown that plays outside.
We love it.
Songwriter, and I'm going to do 3 of my songs right now. This first song I got on a movie short called John Delaney Died Last Night, and I got to go down to LA and view the film and rub shoulders with people that actually make movies and stuff. It was kind of fun. It's called When My Time Comes. I know you will be with me for the long haul, all the way back home. And if Kingdom Come is anything like this place, I'll go laughing, go crying all the way.
go crying all the way back home.
I'll go laughing, I'll go crying, all the way back home. I'll go laughing, I'll go crying, all the way back home. I pulled out the wrong harmonica.
That was
My TV harmonica is over there.
Yeah. Here we are at the Center for Art and Talk. We realize that this is not serious stuff. It's good stuff, though, which is why it's even better. So we have the general idea, Donna, which we'll share with you. What we do is we go around, we take turns, and we share our monologues. They're sort of like songs that are a complete thought from beginning to end. And as a result, we have a different perception of each other we would normally not get. The idea, again, you probably heard me say before, that we are cars, essentially, that walking through life, and inside is the driver whom we never get a chance to meet when we see people. But here is a form where the drivers actually are meet and are met and are connected, and hence we can build better connections socially, community-wise, personal relationships, and the idea that businesses will be able to grow because we actually have better interconnections in our community is a fact. So if you were a business owner, you could promote your business because of you being identifiable to people who would normally walk past the business. And so that's a business. Now they walk past and they say, hey, that's where Super Donna is at. That's where she's got that's where the paintings are. Yeah, and it's a different reality because when we are dimensional, like they have actors, which Monsieur would understand. Of course, the super mom too here, yes. When we have dimensions, then we have depth and perception. We see beyond the superficial. So what I will say is that we start out and we go through, and the general idea is that we can change our topics. I'll make some suggestions as to what the topics are. And we'll say do 3 minutes for starters with this. And what we will do is we listen until it's our turn, and then we'll start out with the phrase. That's what George was reacquainting himself with. This is my perspective, and these are my thoughts. So it's to separate my thoughts from anyone else's. I'm not overriding or empathizing with anyone that says anything else. Mine are separate and distinct that way. And then it gets easy after a few times. So that's literally how it gets easy. It's not the bourbon or the alcohol that I was referring to. Yes, that's a misnomer.
Don't say that again.
Yes, sorry.
It's all in the words.
Yes, I'm relaxing. I'm breathing. My shoulders are relaxed. Okay. So we will start out now. Sir Gary, if you like, you could go, or I could go, or we have our super always ready.
She's always ready.
She's always ready. She's always ready, Sheila. Yeah.
I'm not going first.
Okay, I will. You guys know I like to go first.
Right.
Okay, so again, the topics are changeable, and let me suggest some topics along with a wonderful count that I can do. The topics. The easier ones we'll start with because they're very clear. What's our favorite book, our favorite movie, favorite TV show? Which ones do we remember when we were a kid that were our favorite ones? What was our favorite experience that we had when we traveled? Our favorite place that we traveled to? Those are enough general things that might pull up wonderful things that, and especially with movie, I'll do a movie. We were talking about something about the movies. but I will do a movie, and I'll do mine on movies. You guys can change. You can do something on a book, or I love movies, and I started thinking about one before, and now I get to continue and share with you guys too. So I'll start the timer for 3 minutes, and I will start with a wonderful movie, which is a wonderful movie. And it had something to do with, well, we were talking about West Side Story, and we were talking about, Paid Place. Oh my God, okay. Now, yes. So there's a few things that come to mind. You see, Paid Place was a movie. I'm trying to remember some of the names now. This is silly, but I love it. Okay. Allison McKenzie. Oh, Rodney Harrington. Okay, God. Okay, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Pain Place, and that was the TV show. Oh, it was serious though. It was serious. I mean, that was, when I saw that as a kid, that was ostentatious. That's a good word. Yeah. It was ostentatious, but the lady that wrote it apparently lived like in this small farmhouse or something in like Montana or something. She was not a city dweller, and she had this little corner where she would go and sit, and right when the kids were outside playing, she would come and sit down in the corner, and she would type this story of intrigue and lust and despair and it was action packed. It was like a western. It was like a good western, but only it was with events that happened with people which no one could ever see. There was no insight into people's lives in 1962. Everything was sort of one. It was, hi, I'm Sergeant Friday. Yes, everything was one dimensional. It's the comic, Car 54. Where are you? Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, wonderful stuff. But it was magical. And then came Paid Place, and it sort of blew the top off of the canned America in the media, and the woman that wrote it was like this mom that was like from Montana out in the middle of nowhere sort of, and she blew all the city slickers in New York and everyone away with that. It was sort of like Lord of the Rings or something of the day, It's, and it was a very important time also with the change that had gone on, the use of medications to medicate housewives. You guys may have heard me speak about that before. They started using pharmaceuticals, and the first when they would start to become flustered or excited, then they could take like the downer that would relax them, and that was that began a whole other era in the American experience. And they had a name for it, and Mick Jagger called it "Mother's Little Helper," I think, in the song, and that was it. Anyway, that's my 3 minutes. I'll stop there. Maybe I'll come back and do more later on it, but that's it. I need 5. Anyway, so.
Here's my next song I wrote in New England, Wellfleet. I wrote it, I was looking out, actually my next 2 songs I wrote in Wellfleet. I was looking out, and Eric Clapton, his big ship, yacht, ocean liner, was docked out there, and I was walking the beach, and these songs were coming, and I was working on them and everything, and I was wondering if I'd ever get to ride around in a boat like that, but I'm under no illusions. This one's called Dance With Me, Darling.
was someone who I once loved long before I put my eyes on you. I'm never gonna tell you 'cause it's nothing that you need to know. You're the one that I'm with, kiss, kiss and hold. So dance with me, darling, I love only you. Dance with me, play with me, stay with me too. Walk with me, baby, down life's winding roads. Make me forget the girl I loved long ago. You remind me of her, even wearing her red perfume. In every way, lovelier when it gets mixed with you. She was always so distant, you want me real close. You're the one that I'm with, miss, kiss and hold. So dance with me, darling, I love only you. Dance with me, play with me, stay with me too. Walk with me, baby, down life's winding roads. You made me forget the girl I loved long ago. You made me forget her smile, got her wandering eyes, given away. She left me that night. Dance with me, darling, I love only you. Dance with me, play with me, stay with me too. Walk with me, baby, down life's winding roads. You made me forget the girl I loved long ago. You made me forget the girl I loved long ago.
Thank you guys very much.
This is my perspective, and these are my thoughts. And you just made me remember of vacations with my family. They come from a large family, the same mom, the same dad, and 8 kids. Okay? Kind of unusual. Some people don't understand that, but you know, we're Irish Catholics. But we used to go on driving vacations. We didn't have a lot of money, so we just drove places. And one time we went to Wisconsin to my great Uncle Tom's farm and learned how to milk cows. But we also got to stop at the cheese factory and Wisconsin Dells, so that was fun. And another time we went to I was from Minnesota. Another time we went to northern Minnesota and went to Paul Bunyan Land. When you walk in the gate at Paul Bunyan Land, there's this huge statue of Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. And he yells at you, "Hello, hi Sheila and Brenda." He knows everybody's name. And that was a fun vacation too. But then we went on to North Dakota with the other side of the family and went to different farms and saw different relatives there. That was fun too. But our favorite time was going to my grandpa's in Detroit Lakes because I got to go fishing. And my grandpa taught me how to fish. And my dad had bought us cane poles. They didn't have reels on them. They just have a line on them. And so we had line and a bobber, and Grandpa would take us out by he lived right on the lake. I mean, you walk out the back door, if it fell down the steps, you might end up in the lake, because you would roll all the way down the hill, all the way across the dock, all the way into the water. But it's a sight I'll never forget. And he taught me, we'd go out and we would dig the worms and put them in the can. And then we would have to row the boat because there was no motors allowed. We had to row the boat on the lake. And so I learned how to row a boat. I learned how to put the worms on. And I learned how to outfish my dad. It was always the best part. He goes, I didn't have a chance to catch any because you were always catching them all. And I go, I can't help it. They just like my worms better than yours. But my grandpa, one time I'm sitting in the boat with one of my little sisters, and we had a real long line on the anchor, and the anchor was on shore. And I would be rowing out, and I would row all the way out, and then I would row all the way back just to give my little sister a ride in the boat. Because my mom just didn't think it was a good idea for her to go all the way out in the middle of the lake. Anyway, and my grandpa comes out, and he picks up the anchor, and he's going to throw it in the boat and say, hey, go take her for a ride. I never will forget the sight of my mother banging through that screen door. What the heck are you doing? Probably not in those words. Running down that hill, running down the dock, going, what the heck are you doing? You can't, cause I had to have been maybe 10, 11, something like that. I wasn't very old. And my grandpa was going to let us out on the boat, me and my little sister. I probably would have drowned her.
20 seconds. Yes.
That was one of my favorite times, going on vacation with my family. I really enjoyed them. And my mom and dad. My dad used to chew lots of juicy fruit gum in the car. He always had juicy fruit gum. Lots of good memories. Fun times with my family. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
My next selection came in second in the Ventura Music Awards. I lost to Teresa Russell. I'm sure you all know her name. It's called I'm Not GQ, but I better stand for it. Ooh, if I had the look that you're looking for, pretty face that you adore, nothing could keep you away from me. But even if I had a house up on the hill and a great big oil well still, I couldn't get you to stay with me. 'Cause I'm not GQ, I'm not GQ. And drive a pickup truck, boots are scuffed, and everything I own is used. I'm not GQ, I could use some touching up, but I'm man enough to be good enough. Oh, if I had the smile that you dream about when you're dreaming of Prince Charming, you'd be ringing my bell every night. But even if I had a style that knocks you out and a brand new Maserati, bet you I couldn't get you to go for a ride. 'Cause I'm not GQ, I'm not GQ. Got a pickup truck, my boots are scuffed, and everything I own is used. I'm not GQ, I could use some touching up, but I'm man enough to be good enough. Oh, you like my heart, you really dig my attitude. You like everything about me, but I don't look the way you want me to. You think I'm smart, you like to do the things I love to do. That's the way it goes. Everybody knows I'm not GQ. I'm not GQ.
Well, you started talking about movies,
Okay.
and I tried to reach back and think of the movie that was the most impressionable to me as a child.
Yeah.
And I'll set this up by my parents. We lived in a small town outside of Rochester, and my dad's family was all in Rochester, New York, and he got my mom and dad and my Uncle Roy and his wife decided they all liked to play bridge together. So we would drive into Rochester and on a Sunday usually, and they would there was me and my brother Tom and my two cousins Mary Jo and Donna, and they'd send us off to the movie theater. Movies were a quarter, and a candy was a nickel, and a box of popcorn was another quarter. So my dad would give me and we all had $1 apiece. We could do whatever we wanted with that dollar, and man, hey, that was great. I mean, my gosh. But anyhow, the movie theater was right down the street, and they'd send us off to the movies while they played bridge. So the movie, I saw, movies of the day, a lot of Western and stuff like that, but this the one that sticks out as the one that probably impressed me the most when I was a kid was called Premature Burial. It was starred Ray Milland, and it was a kind of, well, it was a horror movie, And this is the middle of the afternoon. We're like, me and my brother are 2 years apart. Donna and Mary Jo are 2 years apart, so we're all like 8 to 10 years old at the movies by ourselves and watching this movie called Premature Burial. And the thing that it was based on, I think it's a Edgar Allan Poe story. Mm-hmm. And the premise is that people were being buried basically alive, and they would open the caskets and see just fingernails broken in the wood, and all this stuff, and it was, the special effects weren't all that great, and it was pretty gruesome. But the thing that got me the most was the power of the song they used. See, I'm tying in Vienna. Anyhow, the power of the song they used to set up every time you were going to get scared, they set it up with the song, and it was Cockles and Mussels, Alive, Alive, Oh. And, da 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 da, and there's pauses in the song, and it was almost like musical chairs where you just going, oh my God, it's gonna happen, it's gonna, and so da 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 da. And you never resolved. You were just. I was totally petrified.
Yeah.
Petrified, and I couldn't. And I remember myself. I couldn't leave the theater. My parents had to stop what they were doing and come down and get us. And I was like, and my brother, come on, he's 2 years younger, and my terror influenced my other cousins. So by the time my parents got there, my brother's the only one that he's decided he's going to be, I know inside he's trembling. I just know it, but he's not going to admit it. Anyhow, I couldn't leave the theater. I was so afraid that first the music was going to start. It's going to start, I know it is, because they used it through the whole movie, and oh my God. So yeah, my earliest memorable movie was this one called Premature Burial, and I rented it at Salzer's again, and you know what, it still is pretty effective. Of course, I'm a lot more jaded now than I was when I was 8 years old, but my God, what a powerful thing to set all those scenes up with this the melody line and the spacing of the song was just perfect, and I didn't, it built, and they used volume dynamics also to build it up. Sometimes there'd be a whisper, and other times it'd be, but yeah, fabulous, and I got into doing sound effects for movies later on in my life, and maybe that's one of the reasons why. It was so impacted me. So anyhow, thank you for bringing that up.
So we now go to Sir George. Yes. The man, the myth, the legend, as I say. Yes.
Well, you have a lot of topics to choose from. When I was in college, I was in my third year of college, and you were talking. This isn't a piggyback, but you were talking about something that caught my ear, and that was one-dimensional characters in the before the '60s, early '60s. I was in my third year of college, and I was a one-dimensional character. There was nothing much going on. I couldn't even look people in the eye. I could not carry on decent conversation. I was into baseball, which is nothing wrong with being in baseball, but there's lots of other things to do, like date. And in my third year, I got really into the Beatles. And I had some friends that were into the Beatles, and I was able to really just go through their stuff, all the albums. And it really had an effect on me. I didn't just listen to the music, I absorbed the music, like the generation and the generation after it has, and even now they're still absorbing the music. And the effect was, I took acting class, put myself up in front of people, I did all kind of, I started dating heavily, and I started writing songs. I said, well, let's see, they were made by the universe, and I was made by the universe. I used the word God, and I guess I can do it too. So I learned a G chord, C chord, but it reminds me of the topic, which is this book that I read now all the time. It's called The Love You Make, and it's by Peter Brown. And Peter Brown was the guy that took care of all the Beatles' problems. He took care of all their legal problems. He was there as their best man if the other guys wouldn't show up for their weddings. He did everything that Brian Epstein didn't do. And when Brian Epstein died, he did everything that Brian Epstein used to do, pretty much. And he had a good view of the inside life of these people that I idolized. And I get to read that book and see them as real people. Flawed, John Lennon hit women, and he became a feminist. George Harrison, he did spirituality for all those years, but he still had a very hard temper at times. Real human beings. Ringo was never comfortable in his position. You'd think if you played stadiums all over the world, you'd be very comfortable. He was never comfortable. And I'm not sure that Paul McCartney ever really even learned who he was. But he was, of course, a genius at writing and everything. But it just showed me the real people, and I love them even more that I can see the real people. That's one of my favorite things to do, to learn the muck of people that I idolized and have it not affect me. Not affect me. As a matter of fact, it even enriches it, because as you go through life, you realize that you carry a lot of baggage around yourself that you're trying to throw off the ballast, right? So you can move cut a little cleaner line. So it's a process and a journey.
All right.
That's
all for me.
Excellent, Sir George.
Okay, so this is a Bob Dylan song that everybody knows as a Garth Brooks song, because Garth Brooks sang it in the movie Hope Floats. But it's a Bob Dylan song. So. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. And I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. And I've known it from the day we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, and I'd go crawling down the avenue. You know there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret, the winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I can make you happy, make your dreams come true. There's nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love. To make you feel my love. Make you feel my love.
Yeah.
Make you feel my love.
You mentioned places that you had been that you really loved. And I guess one of my favorite places was a car that I was actually hired to drive across the country. And I did it 4 times. And I was pretty young. I was like maybe 28, 29, and living in New York City. And when I'd been married, I had learned how to drive a stick on a little Porsche that we had, one of those old coupes. And so a friend of mine heard that I really, really liked to drive a fast car. And his boss had this Carrera Porsche. It was a 74 Targa that he wanted taken across the country. And I'm going, oh, yes. And so I accepted the job, but never met the owner. I worked through his secretary. He was head of a Wall Street firm, but every night I would call in, and so he vicariously would get to kind of go along on the trip. I never did meet him, and I put 18,000 miles of the 26,000 miles on that car. But it was actually more than just a job. I used that car as a means of personal inner growth. And on the very first trip, I had a Micmac man that I knew bless the car. And he was Louis. He was just a street person that really was tuned in, and I knew he was tuned in, so he blessed the car and saged it and just set me off in a good way. And it happened that one of the times I was in Gary, Indiana, and the red light came on, and the car was obviously in some kind of trouble. It was late, and so I stopped, and I said, well, there's nothing I can do, so I just went to sleep in the car. And about 1 a.m., a policeman came, and he said, you got a problem? I said, well, yeah. The red light came on that dash. I think it's electrical, and I'm not sure what to do. So he said, lady, there's only 2 Porsche dealers in the whole state of Indiana. You see through those lights in those trees? That's one of them.
Oh.
And what was so cool about it is that I knew that, well, they wouldn't be open, so I went back to sleep. And when I woke up, I turned on the switch and there was no red light. It was just sort of a confirmation that I was safe and I was protected and guided. And so that car became a real wonderful process for me, actually. I decided that on one of the trips that I was going to drive 24 hours without stopping. I wanted to just flow with it. And so I put groceries on the passenger seat. I wore a skirt that was really comfortable, and I used the car like you would focus on something as a meditation tool. And I didn't space out. The more I focused, the more alert I became. And at the same time, the more relaxed I would become. And I don't recommend you do this, but my father taught me that we lose about 80% of our energy from our eyes. And so I would count open 3, close 2, open 3, close 2. And if I kept counting, and just allow, this isn't when I was around traffic at home, I would ride over that wave of exhaustion and sort of ride it out and get more energy. And I have to say, I didn't make 24 hours, but I did make 23.
Oh my.
And probably the highlight of it, the whole thing was in that 23. You start to get a little woozy and a little strange. And I was somewhere in Iowa or Nebraska. It was flat as a pancake. And so I saw about 50 miles out this mountain. I mean, a huge mountain in the middle of where there's not supposed to be any mountains. There weren't any mountains. And I looked at it, and there was like this path straight up the mountain, and then there was all these wiggly paths, some with dead ends, all the way around this mountain. And as I'm watching it, suddenly, like somebody took a needle to a balloon, it just went right flat. And I heard in my inner self this phrase, there are many paths up the mountain, but there's no mountain.
Mhm.
It's all an illusion. And that was the gift of that. So I think.
Oh,
Thank you.
well done.
That was
Wunderbar.
pretty good.
Yeah, so that's good.
I gotta start again, I'm sorry. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, there is no one there to dry your tears. Amen.
Start again. Go ahead.
Go again?
Yeah.